Hello, hello. How are you guys? Crompton's on. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Hello. Awesome. Thanks for being here, you guys. Sorry, I was just running 1 second late finishing up a Zoom, but I have a awesome. If you can and you are able and you could turn your camera on, that would make me super happy. If you're driving and stuff, that's okay. Although Stephanie and Josh have their cameras on and they are driving. So thank you guys. Just be careful. I'm really excited to share. I have a ton to share with you guys today. This is probably my favorite training that I do each month, to be honest. And I look so forward to being in Gary Keller's top 200 to get a lot of this stuff and then putting it together and bringing it back to you guys. And I'm anxious to get your feedback and see what you guys think today. So we will get started. And I have a lot, and we are recording. So I'll be sending this out. We'll send the recording. I'll send the slides. Stephanie, thank you. Someone said, as soon as I finish eating, I'll turn my camera on. I totally get that. Thank you. Thank you. Abby, if you don't care, will you pretty please put in the chat the link to our YouTube? So if you have missed any of the last several months and you want to go back and rewatch one, all of the industry updates every single month. In August, by the way, was it August we took a break, or did I do one in August? Yeah, I think August was when I took a break. But other than that, every month there has been an industry update. And so you can go back and watch those, and we'll post the link in the chat to the YouTube along with all of the other one team trainings that we're having. I'm going to talk fast because I have a lot of slides and I want to get you guys all the goods. So really quick, just to recap why you're here. One, it is for you to be the local economist. And I know that has been a conversation that we've had all year long, and it is not going to go away. In fact, I'm probably going to keep talking about it like ad nauseum because the market is definitely shifting. Number two, your clients deserve the knowledge. Number three, you don't want to be one of the ones that waits until it's too late. So I really want you guys to be proactive and not reactive. And also it's to give you perspective, knowledge, and power. Thank you, Abby. There's the link in the chat for all of the previous ones in the YouTube. So just remember, and those of you who have been in a shift, you will understand this. The market share you lose in a shift, you will never get back, but the market share that you gain, you will never lose. And so I want to show you this interesting stat from NAR. As of the end of June of this year, 2022, there are 1.6 million realtors affiliated with the National Association of Realtors. So 1.6 million total. And at the end of June, only 8% of those agents have sold more than 4 houses in the first 6 months of the year. Nuts. That is crazy. I see some of your faces. Yes, that is wild to me. So 1.3 million of those members have only sold 3 homes or less. So don't be surprised if we start to see not only a shift in the market, but a shift in agent count with NAR, which I believe is a good thing. You guys know I'm all about growth for agent count, which is awesome. I think this is the best business that you can be in, and it creates so many blessings and so many great things. And to be totally honest, people who are not doing it full time and they're not engaging and really doing the things to get back to skill based, it makes me nervous. So I want to make sure you guys are on the up and up with this. So I want to give you perspective. This is me and GK, and I got to be with Gary a couple weeks ago for a one-on-one, and I'm going to share a couple of those things with you. But that I finally got to show Gary pictures of when I fished on Gary's land at the Greenbrier in West Virginia about 3 years ago. Linda took me on a girls' trip there, and we went fishing, and it was amazing. I'd never fly fished before, and I thought I was going to hate it. And honestly, it was like the coolest thing I've ever done. But I love this picture because they teach you these great, really cool guides that work for Gary on his land. They teach you how to hold a fish so that it looks huge, even if it's not. And you like hold it really straight out and you put it really close to the camera, and you aren't supposed to really show your finger. So I did a bad job of that. But there's this whole way of showing this fish when you catch it. But I love the analogy of that for perspective, because a lot of times perspective can give us hope of something better, but it should really come from data, experience, and using the past as a predictor. And so that's why I love these slides I'm going to show you today. So I wanted to do something that we haven't done before on this update today. I really would love for you to post in the chat. Again, for those of you that are driving, you don't do this, but would you post in the chat where you're from, either the city or the state, whatever your location, and what are you feeling right now? Are you slower? Are you busier than ever? Or do you just feel normal, like it's steady? And we have people from all different states on here, so I would love for you guys to start posting in the chat. And tell me, Fort Worth, I'll be there in a couple weeks. Ohio, Columbus, busy, Columbus, slower. See, isn't that funny? We're going to get lots of different stuff. North Carolina, steady. Richmond, slower. Columbus, steady. Marysville, super busy. Oh, April, I'm so glad you're on. Charleston, yep, slower than the past. Normal compared, totally agree. John, yep. Powell, slower. Columbus, busier. Feeling slower, slower. Very busy. Good job, Jim Gilday. Busy. Okay, so as you can see, it's a little all over the board. However, I think most people are saying it is slowing a little bit. Those of you that are really busy, that's awesome. And you probably are working with people who you've had a big pipeline for, who lost out on deals, or they didn't have cash to buy when everybody else was buying with cash. And so now they're all coming back out of the woodwork. And so it's interesting to kind of watch that. Columbus slower. Yeah, but crazy first 3 quarters. Matt, that's really, in my opinion, kind of everywhere. Crazy first 3 quarters. And now we're starting to feel slower. I agree with Cindy. She said this time of year is also when it slows down a little bit, when school starts, etc. So it's navigating that and learning off of the past. So one of the things that Gary said on our top 200 last Thursday, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, was 2023. He suspects will be the year of uncertainty. Top agents, this is exact what I wrote down in my notes from Gary saying, top agents won't know what their money buys them anymore, meaning they're going to have to get back out and talk to people again. They're going to have to find out the math, basically. So what that means is where we've been in such a speed-based market, most of us haven't really cared. We haven't necessarily cared how our money has spent because we've been making more money than we've ever made before. When you move back into let's see, I hate using the word shift, but really that's what it is. When you move back into a more balanced market, you have to pay attention and you have to know what the math is. So you're going to have to get back out and talk to people, talk to clients to make the deals work and the money work. You're going to have to refigure everything: the cost of leads, the cost of staff members, the cost of team members, the cost of your CRM. Because in a speed-based market, we haven't necessarily cared about those things as much as in a skill-based market and or a softer slowing market, we have to refigure out what those numbers are again. We have to go back to knowing how many people do we need in our database to touch them, how many times to get them to convert, how many times do we have to cold call before we actually get the appointment. Like, we're going to have to go back to figuring those out. And when we say skill-based market, that is a piece of it. So I think there's no doubt that the market is slowing, that's a fact. I'll show you the numbers. But I don't believe it's slowing to like a crash. And I've been saying this since April. I believe it's slowing to a rational, balanced market. So I'm going to give you a little bit of perspective. I totally ripped off these slides from Denny Grimes. So I want to give him credit. He shared these at the Florida Mastermind and they were really good. These are 2 different news articles within like a couple day time period. So I'll read this first one to you. On August the 18th, existing home sales dropped for 6 straight months, not a recession. And then the next one on August 18th, actually, sorry, same day, experts say a housing recession has begun. So you can see like there's so many conflicting different stories depending on what outlets you're following. We have to get perspective. It goes back to the picture of the fish. We need to know what is really happening so that we can give our clients the right perspective. And I want to give you guys as real estate business owners the right perspective, because depending on what you're reading or who you're listening to or, who you're learning from or whatever, everybody has a freaking different perspective. So if you're looking for some really good things, I would set up Google alerts, honestly, for Gary Keller's name, because when he's posting something, it's fact checked by all of the KW research team, no matter what brokerage you're with, it doesn't matter. Gary's is very factual. Inman, Lawrence Yun, he's the economist that a lot of people follow, and he's a great real estate economist. Zillow, of course, even though, I'm not supposed to say anything negative. So, and then NAR, National Association of Realtors. The reason, even if they're not factual, you need to know what they're sharing and what they're saying so that you can give perspective to your clients and to the consumers, because I can tell you right now, they're hearing the rates are high and the housing market is crashing, and I'll never sell my house in this market. And, I can't afford to buy a house because the rates are so high. So you just have to get the right perspective to be able to give to them. This cracked me up. Denny shared this, and just for pure comedy, I had to share it with you. We'd really like to look at something a little higher priced. Okay, I can show you this house again tomorrow. This is what we've been in. This is the exact image picture of where we were at the beginning of this year, and even last year. Really, you guys, those of you that sell a lot of real estate will know and appreciate that. This isn't where we are today. So the market is changing, and we just have to be aware of that, because this isn't where we are today. And we have to shift our mindset. We have to shift the mindsets of our clients. It's having different conversations than we've ever had before. I love this quote, and they shared it at the Florida Mastermind. There's never a shortage of buyers in any market, only a shortage of realistic sellers. And we have to get back as the real estate experts to helping our sellers understand reality, if you will, is the best word. And that's hard to do, especially for those of you that have never been in a shifting market before. It's different, right? I mean, I can remember, and we're going to talk a little bit about this, but those of you that were in the business in 07, 08, 09, and really even up to probably 2012, I mean, we did weekly seller updates. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Different things that you can do. This, I don't have a good picture of this. I'm really sorry, you guys, because I take like a picture of a screen when I'm at these things, and I don't have time to come back and make it pretty for you, but you get the gist. I would screenshot this. We'll send it out, and if we have time, we'll make it pretty for you, but you might want to make it pretty for yourself with your own logo on it. This is something that they shared at the South Florida Region Mastermind that Denny Grimes shared that I thought was genius. He called it the most important listing form for sellers in the upcoming market. I highly encourage you guys, if you take one thing away from this Zoom today, let it be this. We have to get back to this. So this is the 3 outcome sheet, and their team, I don't remember how many units Denny's team sells. I want to say over 400 a year. But they're back to these sheets. And I think this is so smart. One of 3 things is going to happen next. The property receives little action, low to no showings. And you can go on here. It says the solution is reposition the bait, larger price reduction. The second thing that could happen is the property has showings, but no offers. We all know what that's like. Solution, reposition the bait, smaller price adjustments. Or the third option, excuse me, is that the property actually sells. And so just setting the expectation with your sellers of something like this kind of a worksheet can be a huge tool for you as we're entering into a shifting market, into a more balanced market, if you will. So one of the questions that I want you guys to think about is, what will you do if the market says no? So if you do have listings and they're not selling right now, what will you do? Because they're not selling because the market is saying no. That's it, right? So it's getting back to things like servicing the sellers, weekly calls back to your sellers. Conversations begin with the 3 outcome sheet, this little fishing sheet. Feedback forms back for the sellers, examples of how you're marketing their homes. These are all the things that even in our calls with Gary last week, he said, if agents don't get back to this, they're going to be the ones that lose market share. They're not going to be the ones that actually take market share in a recession. And I don't want any of you to have to experience that. So if you're using something like this currently, I would love to hear it in the chat. Otherwise, let me know in the chat how you feel about this 3 outcomes worksheet. Can you guys see yourself using something like this as the market shifts? I think it's super smart. I see Sarah Weber on. We need to add this to our stuff, pretty please. I think it's very, very good. Yep. Yeah, awesome. Oh, and she just commented, great minds think alike. Okay, so I want to move into giving you the market update. This is the slide I show you every month and will always continue to show you so that you are in the loop, right? These are the magic numbers for you to know. 2246. In a balanced market, these are the numbers that we want to shoot for in our country. GDP needs to be around 2%. Inflation needs to be around 2%. Unemployment, we want it below 6%. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped real estate. We want real estate appreciation to be right around that 4% average. If we can stay at these numbers, we're smooth sailing. When we don't, we have a problem. Inflation is still off the charts. I'll show you guys that today. That's a problem. And so CPI, Consumer Price Index, we haven't seen numbers that high, percentages that high since 1980. So you can see we've just been so high that that's what's caused where we are today. But these are the numbers that you want to memorize: 2246, 2246. Okay, so here's the state of the industry through September. These slides came straight from Gary. I'll send them out. Sorry, guys, I have like a tickle in my throat today. Okay, unemployment through 2021. Remember, what do we want unemployment? We want it to be below 6. And you can see we had a lot of times where it wasn't, and then we've had a lot of ones where it was. Unemployment really honestly has been pretty good. This will show it to you monthly, all the way back from 19 through the end of August. These numbers are going to show you through the end of August stats. So right now we're right around 3.7%. I did want to mention one thing here that I had in my notes from Gary. Have you guys heard of the quiet quitting? It's like a thing. Apparently now it's called quiet quitting. It's what was the other one? The other, like, oh, I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, when someone brought up quiet quitting on the top 200 mastermind with Gary said, honestly, my thoughts on the quiet quitting is that it can't happen when you're present and in people's faces. Great resignation. Yes. Thank you, guys. Yes. That's the other one I was trying to think of, the great resignation. Well, now we have quiet quitting, where people are just slowly over time, they're not telling you that they're not happy. And then all of a sudden, like, they're out. They've quietly quit their role. And so Gary said that he's always gone by the motto, if I employ you, then I care about you, which means that we're going to have a lot of communication and we're going to be present with each other. And he said, quiet quitting can't happen when you're present with your people. And I just thought that that was a really great aha to share with you guys. So GDP, here you can see it on an annual basis. 2022, we are projecting a much lower GDP than last year, but here's where you can see it quarterly. And remember, the United States, our government declares a recession when we have 2 quarters that have negative GDP, which we did have this year. So technically, we officially are in a recession when we have 2 quarters of negative GDP. Gary has always said this: we feel it in the real estate industry much quicker and sooner than actually what our government will call a recession. So that's why it's really important to keep up with these numbers so that you can see it coming. Inflation, if you look at where we are for inflation, you can kind of see, this shows you the CPI, the core CPI, and then our target. 2% is really where we want to be. And you can see it's been nuts. They're really projecting it's going to take another 2-ish years for it to really level back out to where we'll be back normal again. And Gary kind of shared this too. And I've read a lot of economists saying this. Probably next year we'll still feel it a little bit, and then it should level back out by the end of 2024 inflation. So it's still going to be expensive to buy groceries next year, more than likely. It'll still be expensive to travel and to do all those things. I don't know if you guys are like flying and checking flights, but they're outrageous still. Flights are nuts. So we probably will still have inflation will still be higher than what we really would like it to be and need to be next year, but it will continue to kind of creep back down. Here's just a monthly chart of the inflation. So in August, CPI was still at 8.7. Our core was at 6.3. And if you go back, the CPI includes energy and food, and the core excludes energy and food, just so you can see, which are, energy and food are 2 of our biggest expenses. So that's why they break those 2 apart. Okay, this is the biggie that I want you to pay attention to. This is home sales. And if you look at this, we've dropped 3 million units. Hold on, let me go back and look. If you go back and look at before the last recession, let's look at 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, right? The total of about 32.2 million home sales occurred during those years. And then if you look at 05 compared to, let's see, 06, 07, 08. We dropped 3 million units in 3 years, like bam, 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 right back to back to back. They are projecting for 2022. Originally, we were projecting 5.1 million homes sold. Last year, we sold 6.1 million, and these are all NAR stats, in case you're wondering. So it went from 5.6 in 2020 up to 6.1, pretty high back numbers like we were seeing back in 03, 04. And then this year projecting 4.1. However, now they're projecting about 4.8. So we're definitely going to see a drop this year compared to last year. It's going to put us back to about 2012 numbers, more than likely, probably somewhere around 2012. Will maybe a smidge higher is what they're now projecting, that will finish 2022 and probably continue 2023 in. So if you go back to that stat that I showed you at the beginning of NAR with the number of realtors that sold less than 3 homes this year, and you combine that with the drop in homes that are actually going to sell, you can see that those of us that want to go take market share versus the ones that are only selling a couple of deals a year, it's going to be interesting numbers. They're continuing to drop their projections. Jim, yes, you are exactly right. Yeah, from this slide, from NAR saying 5.1, it's actually now down to 4.8. So here's the home sales monthly that you can see through the end of August and what they're projecting. These are the projecteds based off of what's already closed. And now we're down to that 4.8 number. So just interesting to see. Purple was 2021 and the orange was 2020. And for those of you that are on, Adam is colorblind. So Adam, the first one is 2020, the second one's 2021, and the third one's 2022. Had to give him a hard time. Okay, so those are, and here's home prices. So here's the one thing that Gary said about home prices. When you look at annual, it took us 10 years to actually go back to where we were the highest previously before. So in 2021, average home price sale was 351. Last year, 395. I mean, crazy high when you look. So this yellow line is the long-term average of 4% appreciation. That if we would have just kept going 4% appreciation last year, the average price would have been 343. And instead it was 395. So you can see the gap in the difference there, over 50 grand. And then you can look at it here monthly. So Gary believes that home prices next year, we will hit, like we will go back to hitting kind of a bottom number, a number more closer to what we have been used to, not these crazy high prices. If you look at the yellow line here represents the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate. And so in August, it was 5.22. You can see the median home price in 1,000 in August, it was 390 still. I mean, in June, you guys look at that, 414,000. I mean, we likely aren't going to see, that. We're going to see this come down a little bit. Let's see, what did Gary, Gary actually guessed that I'm sorry, I missed this in my notes on the, yes, Jim, you'll definitely get these slides. Gary actually he personally predicted 4.4 million in sales next year, 2023. He thinks we'll go back to 4.4. He thinks we'll be back somewhere between 11 and 12 numbers. And right now NAR is just predicting about 4.8. Home price monthly. Okay, here are days on market. Will pricing decrease 14% to get to the trend line? Great question, John. Hold on, let me go back. Hold on. Here's where you can see that we would have been. Gary believes that we'll get somewhere back to average, closer to average. So I don't know if it's going to decrease by all of 14%, but I do think that we will see it decrease to get closer to the trend line. Yes. And that's what Gary is saying too. He believes next year we'll hit bottom and then we'll get closer to trend line. Now, I don't want you guys to hear bottom as like a crash. Again, it's definitely not a crash. We aren't going to go back to as bad as it was in, here we go, in like 08, 07, 08, 09 numbers. But getting back somewhere between 4.8 0.4 and 4.8 is really what the trends are predicting, if that helps answer that a little bit. Let's see. Oh, wait, let me go back to days on market. Here we go. Days on market. This is 2020 compared to 2021 compared to 2022. So in August, average days on market nationally, and this kind of sourced from all MLS data from the KW research team, is 16. So you can, I don't know. I think that's just average. I mean, I know some of you all average days on market's like 0 for this year because stuff has just flown so fast. This is months worth of inventory. A balanced market, you guys, is 6 months worth of is a 6 month month supply of inventory. In 2021, our average was 2.3. I'm trying to see if he said anything on this. I think we're just going to continue. Here's monthly. We're just going to continue to see this get more balanced. 3.2 has been kind of what it's been for the last couple of months. As you can see, seasonally, it drops anyway in October, November, December. It even did last year in the best year that we had. So we can continue to see that. A third of our inventory is new construction. I have a new construction slide for you on here. It's coming up. I'll show you that too. This is the one also I would highly encourage you to take a screenshot of. Of course, I'm going to send you these, but still just to have quick access to it. These are the mortgage rates annually. And you can kind of see, actually, I think do I have another one on that? I have a monthly. Okay, let me go back to this one. So the historical average from 1972 to 2021, the historical average is 7.81 interest rates. So remember, I know this is going to sound a little discouraging for your clients, but like the 2s and the 3s were a gift, y'all. We probably won't ever see those again. We have to shift our mindsets, and we have to help our clients and the consumers understand that those were a gift. Excuse me. And it's like, we're probably not going to see 2.9. I mean, like, it's just probably not going to happen. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but these are sourced from Freddie Mac. The historical average from 1990 to 2021 is still 5.97. This breaks it down monthly. September 2022 average 6.2. So definitely gone up a little bit. And I can't wait to show you a couple slides in a 4-minute video that I have coming up next that I think you guys are going to love. It's one of my favorite things that KWRI has put out in a while. And it talks about, it's a few mortgage hacks that you guys, you definitely need to write those down and share them with your clients. Here we go. This is it, John. Single family home starts. So the long-term average is around 935,000 homes, new homes started every single year annually. You can see we've had much higher than that. I mean, look at in 2000, really from 2020 until Q2 of this year, we were over the 1,000 of new homes start. The good news is lumber prices have come back down. I think the issue is finding land and builders being able to continue to go. They are going to tighten borrowing restrictions. They already have. So remember, a lot of builders got caught with their pants down. Really, I hate to give you that visual, but it's the truth. The last time that this happened. And then, yes, Stacy's exactly right. Most are not still finished. There are a lot of new home starts that just haven't got finished. There's delay from the fact of people can't find people to work to the prices that increased and lumber went up and all those things. Gary's does still, and even they said this on at Mega Camp, for those of you that listen to that, the next 2 years should still be good with new home starts. It would take us 9 years to get caught up though, to where we need to be to kind of stay that flat line, but that'll still happen. Okay, so I want to switch into mortgage hacks because this was incredible. Like I showed this to Adam afterwards. I was like, this is like some of the stuff I knew, but I didn't know. So KW put together 9 slides on mortgage hacks, and I think these are amazing. And this is like, when I say give value to your clients that they can't get anywhere else, that they can say, because I'm a client of Sarah Weber's, this is the value that I get. This is the unique access. This is the stuff you need to give them. So here's the first one. 15-year mortgages reduce what you pay in interest. You save in interest over the life of the loan, and you build equity in the house faster. The average for a 15-year loan is 6%, and that was as of September 23rd. So here's the thing that Gary said about this. It's not about the monthly payment amount. It's the amount of interest that you pay that matters. And that's where we need to be consulting our clients. Okay, so let me like go slower right here. A 30-year, $300,000 mortgage with a fixed rate of 6.5% in your interest would mean that you would be paying $382,786 in interest over the life of the loan for 30 years. Okay. On it. So you're paying $382,000 in interest on a $300,000 mortgage if you have a fixed rate of 6.5. In comparison, a 15-year $300,000 mortgage at the same rate would translate to $170,438 in interest during the loan. Principal and interest payment on $300,000 at 3.3 for 30 years is $1,313 per month, and total interest paid is $173,000. So look at this. Making one extra mortgage payment per year direct to principal will pay off your 30-year mortgage in 24 years. If you just make one extra mortgage payment per year straight to the principal, will pay off your mortgage, your 30-year in 24 years. Making one extra mortgage payment every quarter direct to principal will actually pay off your 30-year in 19 years. These are things that you guys need to be talking to your lender about. I love this. Gary said, oh, where was it? Hold on, let me find it. He said, this is the stuff we need to be educating to our buyers on, how it will work. And I'm going to continue to show you, but he said, everybody needs to be getting, what did he call them? Like, prepare a mortgage breakdown for the sellers and borrowers so that they know the difference between this stuff. And you guys should have a great lender partner that's partnering with you to help you do this, because this is stuff that like we can really bring value to your clients on, that will help them understand, instead of hearing, oh my gosh, rates are at 7 or 8%, like bring them back to reality with some of these numbers. If you make this one I did not know. I was blown away by this. I literally said, Adam, how figure out how we make a bi-weekly payment. So if you make a bi-weekly payment instead of a monthly, you'll end up making 26 half payments each year instead of 12 full payments. This really adds up over time. That can turn a 30-year loan into a 25-year payoff. So you can save 5 years. And remember, it's the interest that your clients are paying. Review your mortgage every 2 to 3 years to see if refinancing makes sense, but also check on your servicing fees each time as well. Most servicers raise their fees, but will draw them back in if you call and complain. However, most people never check. And that was a big aha. Yes, Kelsey said bi-weekly is good for any loan. Yes, totally. And I never, I heard that before, but I forgot about it. So here's some really great points. Okay. We're going to start talking a lot about mortgage rate buy downs. And I'm already seeing some of you do this, and I'm going to share one example. 1% of a mortgage rate equals 4 points. Okay. 1 point is a quarter mortgage rate. So if you buy down 1 point and the rate is 6%, then you just went to 5 3/4. Buying down the rate by 1 point costs 1% of the loan. Okay. So example, you buy down mortgage rate from 6.5 to 5 on a $500,000 mortgage loan. So that would be 1.5% less of your mortgage rate. That's 6 points. So 1 point equals $5,000 because of the loan amount's 500,000. Therefore, you could do the 6 point buy down for $30,000. Hold on. Wait. Oh, the video's next. Okay. So one of the things you're going to start seeing on here is, let's see. Hold on. Oh my gosh, my whole screen froze. Hold on. Okay, here we go. One of the things you're going to hear in this video, and I want you to understand this is going to be a big make offer for immediate response for you guys to start working with your sellers on in a shifting market. I promise you, the 68 of you that are on, 3 people got bored and dropped off, I think. The 68 of you that are on right now, if you start focusing on this with your sellers, I promise you that it's going to pay off. Okay, I want you to just watch this quick, I think it's like 4 minutes from this.
Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today. Just a couple of questions.
This is the KW just put this out and Gary shared it with us. I don't even know if it's on Connect yet, but I really want you guys to see it because it's very useful. Okay.
Questions about the industry right now and mortgage. Can you explain to me what a rate buy down is?
Sure. Well, there's a couple of different types that you can do. One is a 2-1 buy down, which is something that I think could be attractive right now. For example, today, our interest rates are about 6.875 for a 30-year fixed mortgage. And for 2 points, you can buy the rate down for 2 years. So the first year, the borrower would be paying 4.875, which is a savings of about $805 a month. And
Wow.
the second year, yeah, it's a big saving. The second year, the buyer would pay 5.875, and that's a savings of $400 a month. And then the third through 360, or however long they keep the loan, they would be paying 6.875 for the rest of the loan. So that's a 2-1 buy down.
Okay, I want to pause really fast and share with you. If those of you that have had buyers that are saying because of the interest rate, now they cannot afford their monthly payment, this is where this helps. This is where this comes into play. If you can get their points bought down and they lessen their monthly payment by $800 a month, even if it before it knocked them out because of their ratios, this would put a lot of people back in. So this is why this is really important for you to know.
Average is about 2 points for the seller. Only the seller can pay that. The borrower cannot pay it. There's another permanent buy down that a buyer can pay, or a seller. And that's the one that I think is most attractive today, to be honest with you. If you take that same example of a $700,000 listing, 10% down is a $630,000 loan amount. If the seller were to pay $42,000 in points, I know that sounds like a lot, but you're still selling the property at $700,000, keeping those market values up there. That equates to about 5 points. That takes our interest rate from 6.875 today down to 5.375 for the life of the loan. So that accomplishes about a $600 savings a month for the borrower. In addition to that, like I said, it keeps the sales price up there at the $700,000. Now, to kind of talk also in common sense, if the seller reduced their sales price by $500,000, it would only decrease the borrower's payment by $300. So $50,000 reduction in sales price only equates to $300 a month in the buyer's payment, but $42,000 toward points reduces the borrower's payment $600.
So if I'm a realtor today and I want to use that in my conversation, how am I doing that with my sellers and how am I doing that with my buyers in the easiest way to explain it to them?
I would suggest that we stay very close, lender and agent, and on their listings, let us prepare a mortgage coach breakdown for that particular listing so that we can show the sellers and potential borrowers what this means to them. I think now more than ever, we have to stay super tight with our lending specialists and real estate agents because we've got to work together to keep those property values up, but get these borrowers into homes at a reasonable payment. I don't want anybody to forget about a true arm. Those are coming back. For example, you could do a 7-year arm, and instead of 6.875, today that 7-year arm would be 6.25. So with the average person staying in their home, average 5 to 7 years, you would be having an interest rate of 6.25 for those first 7 years versus the 6.875, which is a savings, again, of about $300 a month.
What are the top 3 ways, if you had any, that an agent would advertise this to their buyers or to their sellers?
You could put into the MLS and any of the marketing that the seller is willing to contribute to a buy down. I think that is something that would be more enticing. But I think really it's educating the sellers and the buyers and our agents to understand how it works is going to be the key to success, because those are conversations that need to happen from right out of the gate. When a buyer calls on a property or when you're going to list a property, explain to them how you are the specialist as the agent and you can help them sell their home at the highest value with the most traffic, if you will, because of the things we're offering.
So I heard about this cool thing called Lock and Shop. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, this is something we're really excited to have. The customer can actually lock in an interest rate as soon as we pre-qualify them, and it's locked for 120 days. That way, while they're out looking for a home, they don't have to worry about this crazy market and what's going on. They know that their interest rate is secured. So we're really encouraging everybody we talk to take advantage of that. And it has a float down option. So let's just say they lock and interest rates were to go way down, we can float them down to that. So it's kind of a no-brainer to go ahead and pull that trigger on a lock and shop for any of your potential borrowers.
Yeah.
And I want to also remind everybody that if you had a borrower qualified several months ago, got to get with your lender to have them requalified, because people, things are changing pretty quickly. So you want to make sure you're staying on top of that and not assuming that they're still okay. You want to make sure that they are okay.
Okay, guys. So hopefully you found some value in that. The last thing she said is
Lauren, thank you.
is very, very important. And that's making sure that you're getting your people requalified if they haven't been qualified in the last couple of months because of that. Dawn asked a great question in the chat, and I think it depends on the lender. If anybody else knows, I would love to, or if you've had a situation, would love to hear your thoughts if the buyer is being qualified on the true loan rate or the bought down rate. So here's an example. So the biggest mofer working right now with sellers, and Gary shared this, is exactly what she said. Seller offering buy down points. Go get riders made. This was exact. Gary said, if I could do one thing right now, this is what I would tell agents. This is what I would do. Go get riders made saying, buy this home and save more money, or buy this home below market interest rates today, and offer seller buying down points. And I didn't know he was going to be on, but I'm using you again as an example, John, because I got this email.
I'm flattered.
Yeah, I got this email and I loved it. And I was like, oh, using that for my industry update, looking for a lower interest rate, credit to buyer to use towards a lower interest rate with acceptable offers, saving you roughly $250 a month or more. You guys, this is it. Like, this is an exact example. So great job, John. This is an exact example of exactly what you should be doing. I mean, what great marketing is this? And I'm sure that your sellers, I mean, I can say that because it's my brother in this situation, ironically, but we're pleased with the marketing of being able to do this, because I'm like, I mean, this makes your sellers feel good. You know what I mean? Like, man, look at my agent is out there is marketing whatever we're willing to do to get our home sold, because the market has shifted even just in the last, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks.
3 weeks. I mean, it just in 3 weeks. How many showings? Do you remember how many showings they had when they very first got listed that day?
So the first weekend, I think we had and don't quote me on the numbers, I don't know if I'm 100% correct. The open house had 12 groups come through, and we had 5 showings on Saturday and a full price offer that night. And then all that, so. And then we had 3 showings after the hurricane so far. So that's positive right now, because I'm talking to people that have no showings.
Yep, totally agree. But just in the 3 week period, they went under contract, but it ended up falling through. Just in the 3 week period, the difference of the market, you guys, is huge. So if any of you have listings that are sitting right now, this is something you need to be talking with your sellers about. If they can get up the price that they want, or they can get full price, would they be willing to actually buy some buy down points? Any thoughts, comments, questions, put them in the chat if you have any on this, because this is huge, but I do want to move on. And thanks, John, for always, I didn't even ask for permission, but thanks for allowing me to use your stuff. I just use it. Not knowing you'll be on. Okay.
I need to get on these more often.
Yeah, you do. You'll be surprised what I share of people's. Okay, so here's another thing that Gary shared with us that I want to share with you guys. And this is the season of your data bank, which is your database. So from August 1st to October 31st, you should be focusing on fall cleanup, is what Gary calls it, with your database. Remember, your database is your business. Decide what information you want to have on each person in your database. You have to have their phone number, their email, and their home addresses. It's nice to have their birthdays, home anniversaries, and then what Gary calls FORD, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. As much data as you can get on them, get it, because it's just a way for you to touch them and provide value. Sorry, thanks guys for bearing with. I don't know what's happening with my little throat. Figure out where the holes are in the information in your database. Do you have their addresses but not their birthdays? And create a list of everyone that should be in your database but isn't. So this time of year, when we start to slow down a little bit, you should be doing fall cleanup with your database. Remember, the new number is 16,000. 16,000 contacts in your database to net 1 million. It used to be 1980, I think, 1920 or 1980. And it's drastically changed to 16,000. Thank you, Amazon, for touching us 5 billion times a day. Now we have to have more people in our database to make the same amount of money. And we have to touch them a lot. Come November 1st, all the way through February, is what's called the winter of renewal. Renew all of your relationships that you may not have been as purposeful about maintaining over the course of the year. this is where I really would encourage you guys to focus right now. Winter of renewal. Why? The end of the year has a lot of natural touch points. New Year's is the one time of the year that you can use as a talking point to get into conversation with everyone. Start making Happy New Year calls on December 1st. Use this to fill in your gaps. This is also the time of year where no one thinks twice about receiving a gift or a card in the winter of renewal. And then come March 1st, we'll through all the way through July, we'll be in spring, summer explosion after you've reconnected. This is the buying and selling season. So maintain the relationships, hustle hard, and then go do the deals. So I really want you guys to be thinking about this winter of renewal and renewing your relationships. Some of you may still really need to be in fall cleanup and getting your database as much as you can. This is kind of hard to see, and we'll send this out to you, but between Halloween and New Year's are like all those highlighted reasons for you to touch holidays, for you to touch your database. So Gary's right. This is the time where people don't think twice about a phone call or a handwritten card or a little gift or a client appreciation event, right? We get into holiday mode. So how can you be renewing your relationships and really, really, really touching your people and just being purposeful about maintaining those that you have in your database? Because I can promise you that one of the big ways that agents are going to take market share is going to be through the referrals that are going to come from their database. We are not in a speed-based market anymore. We are in a skill-based market. So purpose of this is for you to go be the local expert and take market share during this shift. And I wanted to end with something positive today. And it's actually from, and even though this has been positive, but I feel like sometimes when you get on these industry updates, you're like, okay, we're going to have slow down. I've got to do all this extra work. And yes, that's right. However, I can promise you there is more money made in downturns than even when there's not. And for those of you that do the work, I promise, yes, clarity is power. That is exactly right. Thank you, John. That is so true. Clarity is power. And I've said this from the beginning. If you're an agent with me or you're my friend, I never want you to be like, I wish that she would have told us that this crap was coming. And now we're here and we're not prepared and we're not making any money and we're not selling any houses and we are going to go get another job. Like that will never be the case. I want you to be like, she told us that this was going to happen. So this is from one of my favorite books, Who Not How. And I just want you to think about, even if you're burnout or you're like, man, I don't know if I want to go put all this work in and all this stuff, you're all doing it to be successful, whatever success means to you. It might be money, it might be time, it might be freedom, it might be achievement, whatever it is. But I love these 10 ways that Dan Sullivan talks about. Linda McKissick introduced me to Dan, and it's just been one of the biggest blessings because I've learned so much from him. But here's the 10 ways you know you're successful. Number 1, you can wake up every day and ask, what would I like to do today? Number 2, your passive revenue exceeds your lifestyle needs. Number 3, you can live anywhere in the world that you want. Number 4, which by the way, number 3, COVID, like the pandemic, that really made that happen for a lot of people. They were living places that they didn't want to live because that's where they had to work, and they can work where they want virtually now. So that's created a lot of the move. Number 4, I'm working on projects that excite me and allow me to do my best work. Number 5, I can disappear for several months with no effect on my income. Number 6, there are no whiny people in my life. Actually, that's my favorite one out of all 10 of these. That's my goal in life. Number 7, I wear my watch for curiosity only. Number 8, I have no time obligations or deadlines. Number 9, I wear whatever I want all the time. And number 10, I can quit at any time. And so when you're thinking of why you're continuing to do what you're doing every day, I just want you to think about these and maybe pick the 1 or 2 that you're like, those really resonate with me. For me, it's the live anywhere that I want and the no whiny people and probably number 2 as well. But I just think that these are so good for you to think about as you're working on setting your goals and all the things for next year. So lastly, I want to share with you 2 upcoming events that I think will be great for you to attend based off of today. The first one is next Wednesday on October 12th. We're continuing a big social media build your brand panel. This was probably one of the most attended ones that we have, because what a better way, I don't know of a better way to build your brand and to be relevant now than to build your social media. It's honestly, guys, it's not a luxury anymore. Like, it's a necessity. You have to be willing to do it. Perception is reality. So I have 4 amazing people to talk about branding and social media And you guys are going to love them and learn so much. And then also we're starting a new monthly 2 tools you need for success. And Brian Leverett and Liz Henry are going to be leading it. And it's all about really truly working and living off of a 135 and a 411. And if you don't know what those, I don't have time to explain them to you. So you'll just have to come check it out. But they are 2 tools that you can use for your business and your personal life that honestly will set you apart. They'll move you from being entrepreneurial to purposeful in your life. And they're going to walk you through those. And I know that you'll love that. And then lastly, if today really stressed you out, come join my Bible study. That I'm starting a book club Bible study. 100. I know that you guys are loving this because 145 of you have already signed up, and I'm pumped about it. Chase the Lion is honestly, if I could tell you one book to read right now, going into a different time in the market, it would be this book. Whether you're a person of faith or not, it is hands down amazing. It is the book that changed my life. It's the little title right there. You can't see it, but it says, "If your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small." And you guys, this is the time for us to dive in and go deep. And we might have to get a little bit of our hustle back. We've got to get our skills really sharpened. But this is gonna be a great time for you guys to take market share and take inventory and really grow your business. If you just stay educated, have the clarity is power, like John said, and really just dive into that. So I hope this was helpful. We do have a couple minutes. Any ahas, thoughts? Did you guys learn some good stuff? Let me know in the chat. I love doing these. You guys, I wish I would have had this in the last downturn. I didn't. I was just hustling through. And for me, I think clarity definitely is power, and just seeing this and being able to push it along. And if there's anything you would like to see from me, by the way, on these that I'm not sharing, please shoot me an email or a message or something and let me know so that I can start including it. And then I really would challenge you to go and share these mortgage hacks, figure out a way that you can start creating ways to bring more value to your sellers and help educate your buyers. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm loving reading your comments. Okay, awesome. Go have a great rest of your week. Appreciate you guys being on. Good job time blocking to learn about it. See you guys.